There has never been a better moment in the history of mankind to change your financial destiny than right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when the economy shifts or the market favors your idea. Right now. Right in the middle of whatever limitations you think you have. The playing field has been leveled. And while many are distracted by scrolling, complaining, comparing, or procrastinating, others are waking up and realizing they've been sitting on a multi-million-dollar message, a gift, a problem they were born to solve, and the world is ready to pay for it. Understand this. Poverty is not a punishment, and wealth is not a reward. They are both results. Poverty is the result of beliefs and behaviors that disconnect you from the flow of value. Wealth is the reward of alignment when your mindset, your methods, and your message come into agreement with the marketplace. There's a lie that many still believe, and it's keeping them broke. The lie says you need credentials, connections, or capital before you can get started. But that lie crumbles in the face of this truth. People will pay you for what you can help them solve, even if you don't have a degree, a suit, or a fancy office. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be positioned. And when you position yourself as a vessel of value, everything changes. Your story, your scars, your skills, those are not side notes. They're assets. They're the bridge between your current situation and your future breakthrough. And if you're willing to believe that your past doesn't disqualify you, it actually qualifies you, then you're already further ahead than 90% of the world. We live in a time where one idea, packaged correctly, distributed digitally, and driven by purpose, can generate more income in a week than some people make in a year. But the question is not whether it's possible. The question is whether you're ready to finally stop playing small, stop hiding your value, and stop waiting for permission. This is not the season for survival. This is the season for acceleration. You've been given time, tools, and technology. You've been given insight, intellect, and influence. The question now is, what will you do with it? Because the truth is, now is the easiest time in history to get rich, but only if you choose to move with conviction. Only if you're bold enough to see yourself as a solution in a world desperate for answers. Now, let's get into the truth behind this season of overflow. Most people think that if they could just find the right business plan, the perfect investment opportunity, or a bulletproof strategy, they'd finally get rich. But here's the truth. Strategy without belief is like fuel in a car with no ignition. It might look full of potential, but it's not going anywhere. The first shift must happen internally. Before you write the plan, before you launch the product, before you hire the coach or open the laptop, you must believe it's possible for you. Not just in theory, not just for others, but for you. Wealth doesn't start with a spreadsheet. It starts with a decision. A decision to stop agreeing with lack. A decision to stop identifying with the stories that say you're too old, too young, too late, too early, too broke, too inexperienced. Those stories are not truth. They're just patterns you've rehearsed for so long. They feel like reality. But belief is the foundation that turns potential into performance. It turns thoughts into action, and action into results. When you don't believe in your value, you will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that tries to bless you. The reason so many stay stuck isn't because they're lazy or untalented. It's because deep down they don't think they deserve more. They haven't made peace with prosperity. They feel like imposters when they charge high prices, or guilt when they begin to win. So they shrink, they settle, they play it safe, but you were not created for a life of survival. You were created for impact, influence, and increase. And it begins with belief. When you shift your belief system, your entire strategy changes. You stop building from fear, and you start building from faith. You stop pricing your products from insecurity and start pricing from impact. You stop chasing clients and start attracting them. That's what belief does. It aligns your energy with your actions. It puts conviction behind your communication. It puts posture in your positioning. Someone with strong belief and an average plan will outperform someone with a brilliant plan and weak belief every single time. Because belief creates boldness, and the marketplace rewards boldness, the world doesn't move for the confused. It moves for the clear, the certain, the committed. And that clarity starts when you stop hoping and start knowing that wealth is not only possible, it's assigned to you if you'll show up in alignment with it. Your business is a reflection of your belief. Your income is a reflection of your belief. Your consistency, your creativity, your confidence, all of it flows from what you believe about yourself and about money. So if you're struggling in business, don't just look at your funnel. Look at your faith. Don't just tweak your marketing, transform your mindset. There was a time when access to opportunity was controlled by gatekeepers. If you wanted to publish a book, you needed a publisher. If you wanted to speak to the masses, you needed a stage. If you wanted to sell a product, you needed shelf space in a store or approval from a boardroom. But that world is gone. We now live in a digital era where the marketplace is open to everyone, not just the privileged. Not just the connected, not just the chosen few. The internet has removed the barriers and what's left is possibility. Pure, limitless, divine possibility. The digital marketplace is not just a technological breakthrough, it is a divine equalizer. It doesn't care where you were born, what your last name is, or how many degrees you have. It doesn't ask for a resume. It asks for value. It asks for impact. It asks for you to show up and serve. The person who has something meaningful to say, something transformational to give, now has the tools to reach thousands, even millions, without anyone's permission. You can wake up today, record a message on your phone, post it, and have it seen by people in countries you've never visited. You can launch a course, start a coaching program, design a digital product, and make your first dollar online without renting a building, hiring a team, or begging a banker for a loan. You can sell knowledge, wisdom, skills, insight, personality, and solutions. That's not just business, that's legacy. That's leverage. People used to inherit wealth through bloodlines. Today, you can build it through Wi-Fi and wisdom. That's the power of this era. And yet, many still act like they're waiting for someone to choose them. They wait for validation. They wait for the perfect time. They wait to be discovered. But in the digital age, waiting is just another word for wasting. Wasting opportunity, wasting talent, wasting a moment in history where one video, one offer, one conversation can alter everything. The field has been leveled, but it's only visible to those with vision. Those who still think small, still operate from fear, still wait for safety, they miss it. But those who see the tools for what they really are, divine instruments of expansion, they run, they move, they create, and the marketplace responds. You don't need a building, you need a brand. You don't need credentials. You need clarity, you don't need permission, you need purpose. The digital world does not reward the hidden, it rewards the helpful. It doesn't care if you're new, it cares if you're needed. And if what you offer brings transformation, people will find you, follow you, and fund you. Most people are searching for something new to start, something external to chase, some secret they don't yet know, all while sitting on gold they've never recognized. The truth is, what you need to create wealth is already inside you. You don't have to invent your way into abundance. You have to extract it. Your voice, your story, your experiences, your failures, your breakthroughs, your natural strengths, these are not random. They are resources. When packaged with purpose, they become income-producing assets. The most valuable product you can ever offer is transformation. And the greatest source of transformation is your own journey. Someone out there is stuck where you once were, and they're willing to pay not for information, but for guidance. For shortcuts, for clarity, for solutions. You don't need to become an expert in everything. You need to become intentional with what you already know. That knowledge, applied and packaged, can be turned into coaching programs, online courses, ebooks, communities, content. The forms are endless. But the source is the same. What's already within you? Think about this. You've already paid the price of experience. You've learned through trial, error, pain, and perseverance. So why would you let that wisdom go to waste? Every struggle you've overcome, every skill you've developed, every insight you've earned, those are not just personal wins. They're marketable tools. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs real people with real stories who can deliver real results. That's you. The marketplace today is built on trust and authenticity. People buy from people they connect with. And nothing connects like a powerful story told with purpose. Your voice carries authority not because you've done everything right, but because you kept going. Your transparency builds credibility. Your scars give your words weight. And when you show up with the heart to serve, not just the hunger to sell, money becomes a byproduct of mission. You might think, but I'm not special. That thought is the very thing that's keeping you broke. You don't have to be famous to be valuable. You just have to be effective. You don't need millions of followers to make millions of dollars. You need to solve a real problem for a real group of people, consistently and clearly. That's how wealth is built. Speed doesn't come from motivation. It doesn't come from pressure. It doesn't even come from deadlines. Real speed, the kind that propels people into action, the kind that gets results, comes from certainty. When you're certain about your value, you stop hesitating, you stop second-guessing, you stop asking for permission. You move with confidence, with clarity, with direction, and that kind of speed creates momentum, and momentum creates miracles. Most people aren't slow because they're lazy. They're slow because they're unsure. They doubt their worth. They question their voice. They hesitate because they don't want to be wrong, rejected, or judged. So they move cautiously, overthinking every step, waiting for a sign or validation to confirm what they already know deep down, that they're called to more. But when you truly believe in the value you bring, you don't wait. You act, you initiate, you create. Certainty is the silent engine of acceleration. It allows you to make decisions quickly, execute with boldness, and pivot without panic. You no longer need to ask 10 people for advice or consume endless information. You trust yourself. You trust the process. And when you trust, you move. That's why two people can have the same skills, same tools, and same opportunity, but one will explode while the other stalls. The difference is not talent, it's certainty. When you're certain, you don't waste time trying to convince yourself. You show up like someone who belongs. You charge what you're worth. You pitch without shrinking. You post without over-editing. You sell without apologizing. That kind of energy attracts attention. It commands respect. And it gets compensated. Because the marketplace doesn't pay the most prepared, it pays the most certain. When people sense your belief in what you offer, they mirror that belief. They buy because you've already bought in. But when you doubt your value, everything slows down. You write the offer, but don't post it. You get the idea, but wait for the right time. You think about going live, but talk yourself out of it. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and you end up frustrated, not because you lack opportunity, but because you lacked certainty. Certainty gives birth to bold action, and bold action is what opens the door to abundance. You don't get faster by pushing harder. You get faster by getting clearer. Clear about who you are, clear about what you carry, clear about the impact you can create. When you stop seeking approval and start standing in authority, your speed multiplies. Your decisions get sharper. Your confidence grows stronger, and your outcomes become more predictable. Speed follows certainty, and certainty is a choice. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being anchored in your identity, your value, and your assignment. When you know who you are and what you offer, there's no more room for delay. You move, and when you move, money moves. Doors open, clients come, opportunities find you. Information is everywhere. It's free, abundant, and accessible at the tap of a finger. You can Google anything. You can watch endless videos, read countless blogs, and download PDF all day long. But if information alone created transformation, the entire world would be rich, fit, and healed. Yet, people are still stuck, struggling, and searching. Why? Because information doesn't change lives. Transformation does. And people don't pay for what they can find on YouTube. They pay for results. They pay for breakthroughs. They pay for speed, clarity, and certainty. They pay for you to take them from where they are to where they want to be. This is why your business, your brand, your offer must never just be about dumping knowledge. You are not a human encyclopedia. You are a living solution. When people come to you, they don't want more data. They want direction. They want confidence. They want a path that works. And most importantly, they want to feel like someone understands their pain and has already conquered the mountain they're facing. So when you position yourself, stop trying to impress people with how much you know. Show them what you can help them do. What pain can you eliminate? What goal can you accelerate? What confusion can you replace with clarity? The value is not in how much you share. The value is in what they achieve because of you. Think about it. When someone buys a fitness program, they're not buying videos. They're buying the six-pack. They're buying confidence in the mirror. They're buying energy and strength. When someone hires a coach, they're not paying for sessions. They're paying for the transformation those sessions unlock. That's what people value: the change, the shift, the elevation. And here's the key: transformation is emotional. People move when they feel. If all you give them is information, they stay in their head. But when you speak to their heart, their fear, their hope, their pain, you move them into action. That's what great brands and great leaders do. They don't just educate, they activate. So stop hiding behind content. Stop thinking you need to teach more to charge more. No, you need to deliver transformation faster and more effectively. That's what justifies premium prices. That's what builds a loyal audience. That's what turns clients into evangelists. They don't remember every lesson you gave them, but they will never forget how their life changed because of you. The transformation is the product. Your job is to guide people through it, not overwhelm them with facts. Package your offer around the outcome. Show the before and after. Talk about the journey and the result. And be bold enough to declare, I help people get here. People are not paying for your time, they're paying for their result. So step out of the role of an educator and step into the role of a transformer. Position yourself not as the textbook, but as the testimony. That's what sells, that's what scales, and that's what sustains. The marketplace doesn't reward the most talented. It doesn't favor the smartest or even the most prepared. It rewards the bold, the ones who are willing to move, to speak, to create, to sell, to show up again and again, even when it's uncomfortable. It's not about perfection. It's about movement. Wealth doesn't flow to hesitation. It flows to action. And not just random action, but action rooted in purpose, backed by belief, and delivered with confidence. There are too many brilliant people watching from the sidelines, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right feeling to finally make their move. But while they wait, others less qualified, less polished, and often less experienced are collecting the rewards. Not because they're better, but because they're bolder. Boldness opens doors. Boldness builds momentum. Boldness tells the world, I'm here to serve, and I'm not shrinking back. Inaction has never paid dividends. Playing it safe has never built empires, and silence has never generated sales. If you want to rise, you have to risk. Risk being seen, risk being misunderstood, risk being rejected, because that's the only path to impact. The ones who win in this marketplace are not afraid to be visible. They know that you can't change lives in the shadows. You have to take up space. You have to declare your value. You have to stand for something louder than your fear. Being bold doesn't mean you have all the answers. It means you're willing to move while you figure it out. It means you launch the product, post the offer, start the business, record the video, send the pitch, even if it's not perfect. Perfection is not required, but presence is. And the more consistently you show up, the more the marketplace begins to respond. Money doesn't chase the hesitant, it moves toward clarity, it moves toward conviction. The bold understand that rejection is part of the journey. Failure is part of the learning, criticism is part of the price. But none of those are reasons to stop. They are proof that you're in the arena, that you're doing the work, that you're positioning yourself for the breakthrough. Playing small might feel safe, but it's the most expensive decision you'll ever make. Because every day you hesitate, you delay the people you're called to help, and the income that's waiting on the other side of your courage. The marketplace rewards those who walk in purpose with audacity, those who stop waiting and start creating, those who trust their voice, own their story, and lead with intention. You don't have to be loud, but you do have to be bold. Bold enough to believe in what you offer. Bold enough to ask for the sale. Bold enough to raise your price. Bold enough to step into rooms where you don't feel ready, because purpose always makes room for boldness. Now that you've heard the truth, you have a choice to make. Because none of this will work if you stay where you've been in hesitation, in fear, in analysis, in waiting. Every principle you've just heard, from shifting belief before strategy, to understanding that the marketplace rewards the bold, is a reminder that wealth doesn't come from chance. It comes from clarity, courage, and commitment. It doesn't come from watching others succeed. It comes from deciding that now is your time. You are living in the easiest, most accessible, most connected time in human history to build wealth. Not by chasing trends, not by faking success, but by showing up with authenticity, packaging your value, and moving with purpose. The playing field is no longer controlled by gatekeepers. The tools are in your hands. You have the voice. You have the vision. You have the experiences and stories that someone else is desperately waiting for. So the real question is, will you move? This is not about hype. It's not about empty motivation. It's about a call to action because transformation requires participation. You don't become wealthy by absorbing more information. You become wealthy when you apply the truth and start moving in faith. What you know, what you've survived, what you've mastered, and even what you're still working through, that is all usable. That is all monetizable. That is all divinely designed to serve someone else. Certainty must replace your hesitation. Clarity must silence your confusion. And conviction must override your comfort zone. Because money moves to those who move in purpose. Speed follows belief. Opportunity follows visibility. And impact follows boldness. You don't need a bigger network, more followers, or a lucky break. You need to believe in what you carry, speak up with conviction, and position yourself as the solution in a marketplace full of problems. We are no longer in the age of information, we are in the age of transformation. People aren't looking for experts. They're looking for leaders. They're looking for clarity. They're looking for someone who has walked the path they're stuck on and is willing to lead them through it. That someone is you, but they'll never find you if you keep playing small. Every single moment you wait is costing you more than money. It's costing you time. It's costing you freedom. It's costing you the lives you were meant to change and the legacy you were born to build. You have something worth paying for, but you'll never get paid if you don't show up and declare it. Now is the time, not tomorrow, not next year, right now. The easiest time in history to get rich isn't coming, it's already here. But the ones who will benefit are the ones who are bold enough to believe it, act on it, and move with purpose. You've been informed. Now it's time to be transformed. Decide, move, build, and don't look back.